What's up, A to Z Sports Live on this Friday, a post-game Friday for the Tennessee Titans after the sixth consecutive loss for this team, but on Thursday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys, 27-13 was the final score. Although waking up this morning, I don't know, Zach, if you feel this way. It doesn't feel like the Titans lost by 2 touchdowns. It feels like there's a little bit different optimism and potential hope in the air for what the Titans put on the field last night, understanding the circumstances with a lot of key players resting because last night's game had nothing to do with the Titans' playoff hopes and playoff plans. And now it all sets up for a win and in AFC South championship game between two losing football teams 2 Sundays from now in Jacksonville against the Jags. But we're going to talk about a lot of the things that happened last night. We had a great post-game show presented by Barton Insurance Group last night. So if you missed that, go check that out. It was late, but we had a lot of good conversations there. So what Josh Dobbs' performance last night means for the Titans quarterback future and Malik Willis. That's what we're going to dive into today and have a lot of good conversation there. We've got some video from Dobbs and Vrabel about the quarterback situation, what hurt the Titans most last night, penalties or drops when it comes to the wide receivers. And then just the Malik Willis elephant in the room. What is Malik Willis? Who is Malik Willis at this point? And what do the Titans still think they have in Malik Willis as a quarterback after he was benched for Josh Dobbs, who had been in the facility for 8 days? And so we'll go through all of that. And then it is a Friday, which means we will wrap up our week and Zach wrap up the final show of 2022 for our morning show with Ain't That Good News. So welcome in. Hope your Friday's off to a good start.
Yeah, so far so good. Felt like, you blink and then you wake up and you're right back in the seat. But, that's the season. And, the season is coming and winding down to a degree. How long the season will be, well, we'll find that out next week in Jacksonville, Duval County. Probably be sunny and 75. People will be in the pool playing, watching, this Titans team try to scratch and claw their way to the playoffs. Or will it be Jacksonville's second time in franchise history, as we know, second time ever to win the AFC South? So that showdown will be good. Plus, we got a full slate of football this weekend. You got, Orange Bowl tonight. You got semifinals tomorrow, New Year's 6. I mean, this is great. This is football. This is prime time, baby. We don't have to watch meaningless games like we watched last night with backup quarterback. So, so far, so good on a Friday. And we've got you covered in 3 different areas as we broadcast live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We will tweet out segment by segment our YouTube link at A to Z Sports on Twitter. So give us a follow on Twitter and subscribe. If you've already subscribed, which is great for our YouTube channel, A to Z Sports Nashville, you can just go to YouTube, search that bad boy. So make sure you subscribe. If you've already subscribed, then hit the like button on this video. It helps the video to get more Titans fans involved. We want to build this community. We want more opinions. We want more people in the chat. And that's what we're trying to grow. So you guys have been awesome. As this year, speaking of 2022, we've had massive growth. I don't even know what it is for our YouTube page, but very reliable resource for our live streams and post game. So if you're a Titans fan, you're a Vol fan for the Big Orange podcast, we've got you covered on A to Z Sports Nashville on YouTube and on Facebook. The Real OGs, day oneers, bottom left corner of your screen. Share, not a public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing on this show. Share the show around. Make sure you do that. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed. And let's get this party started as the 2022 year concludes here on A to Z Sports.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports, powered by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media as we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter timeline. Hit us up on Instagram and TikTok for more content as well. But we got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen and have been making it happen all year for A to Z Sports. Wilson County Hyundai, if you're looking for a new ride, and I'll tell you this from experience, buying a car at the end of the year is a great time to do it because you can find a deal, and the deals are great at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. So go see them in Lebanon. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans, get better with Farm Bureau Health Plan that means better coverage, rates, and service. Learn more about a health plan for you, fbhp.com/ATOZ. And Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call them for a free case consultation at 800-800-4600. So, Zach, the Titans fall to 7-8. That is the sixth consecutive loss for the Tennessee. I'm sorry, 7-9. This is the sixth consecutive loss by this team. They are now guaranteed to have a losing record for the first time since 2015 under Ken Wisenhunt and pre-John Robinson. Now John Robinson is gone. But last night's loss, 27-13 to the Cowboys, did have an extra flavor to it because of the situation with Josh Dobbs making his first career start in the NFL, being in the league for 6 years with a various amount of teams in different roles, practice squad, backup, not having a lot of in-game experience. But he goes 20 for 39 passing for 232 yards, threw his first career touchdown pass, threw an interception, was sacked a couple times, did fumble twice, lost one. But overall, considering he was in the building for 8 days, pretty impressive from Josh Dobbs. So let's hear from Josh Dobbs and Buck Rising from A to Z Sports, asking him a very interesting question about when he learned he was going to start this game.
Josh, when did you find out that you were going to start?
So after the last game, it was Christmas Eve, and I was actually driving home, and Pat called and he said, "Hey, can you come in tomorrow, just to be prepared to play? We just want to go through the game plan. We're just trying to figure out which way we're going to go, but if you're playing, I just want you to see the stuff as soon as possible." So drove home, spent Christmas morning at home, and then turned around noon, drove back up. Had a car finally, so drove back up, and then we started diving into the game plan. And then the next day, they said, "Hey, we're probably going to start you, so you're going to take all the reps throughout practice," and that's the way we went.
So there's Josh Dobbs after the game, his first career start. And Zach, remember in the pregame show, I said that Josh Dobbs has known he's going to be the starter for several days, including pre-Christmas Day. And so he did confirm that I mentioned yesterday on the pregame show. And if you watch the open to the Amazon Prime broadcast, then it showed Mike Vrabel telling Al Michaels in a production meeting, yeah, Josh Dobbs is going to be the starter. And he went out there and he played pretty well for a guy who hadn't started a football game that means something in 6 years, dating back to the Music City Bowl in 2016. So, Zach, what'd you think overall there?
Well, I thought, Josh, he only scored 13 points, right? That's the offense. But the offense is bad. So you have to also take that with a grain of salt. And 8 days preparation coming in on Christmas. Josh Dobbs, he's a smart guy. We've covered him and known him for some time because of his time at the University of Tennessee. And, he's an all-in type of player. I think that's what Josh Dobbs has always represented, is that it doesn't matter. He's going to put in the work to try to be prepared. He's not the most talented, unbelievable NFL quarterback we've ever seen, but he was going to get an opportunity, and the Titans were going to evaluate him, and they felt like number 11 was the best quarterback to give them a chance to win, or at least not to, be embarrassed with, less than 100 yards passing and just running around trying to, make plays like we've seen Malik Willis do. And I felt like, here's the key. The Titans felt like Josh Dobbs could run their offense. Malik Willis has shown that he cannot run an NFL offense the way that the Titans want. Now, here's the caveat. The Titans offense is not good. So as a whole, but what they want is Josh Dobbs to be able to go in there, make the right reads, make the throws, get out in space. Josh Dobbs is better at naked bootlegs and moving around outside of the pocket, throwing on the run, being more accurate. We saw that last night. And you saw the offense be more productive than when we saw Malik Willis. And so I think that was telling now that we've seen both quarterbacks play, but the fact that they trusted a guy who had been in the building for 8 days and throw him out on a nationally televised game in prime time against America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, on short notice, that I think is a full, and I'll repeat what I said yesterday in the pre and post game show. That's an indictment on what they think about Malik Willis. Dobbs went out there and played okay. And if Joshua Dobbs plays in a crucial win and get in game, I think it's a further indictment of what they think about Malik Willis.
Well, I think there is zero reason to not play Malik Willis or to not play Josh Dobbs against the Jags. Like Josh Dobbs has to play. Josh Dobbs has to play against Jacksonville, 8 days from now or whenever that game is. We don't even know if it's Saturday or Sunday game. We don't know when that game's going to be in Jacksonville, but Dobbs needs to be the starter for the Tennessee Titans. I think we learned that much. Zach, I'll go as far as this. Here's what I also feel after watching Josh Dobbs start his first game after being here for 8 days. I think Josh Dobbs needs to be on this roster going into the offseason. Josh Dobbs needs to be back with the Tennessee Titans moving forward, at least going into training camp. I don't know.
Another wasted pick?
I'm not saying Malik Willis doesn't. I'm not saying cut Malik Willis. I'm just saying Josh Dobbs needs to be in the quarterback room for the offseason going into training camp to see what you got there.
Austin, if you'd rather have a practice squad guy you picked up in week 15 or 16 on the roster than your third round pick.
I didn't say cut
8
Malik
months
Willis.
later. But the fact that again, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying that let's think about this notion that you're putting out there is you are saying you need a practice squad guy that you just met. You literally just met the guy. You had him start in prime time against the Cowboys, and now you're sitting there saying he's got to be in the room. You're not sitting here saying that Malik Willis has to be in the room. You're saying that Malik Willis maybe should be in the room, but you're saying Josh Dobbs has to be in the room, right?
Yeah, I think from what we've seen, Josh Dobbs has been a Tennessee Titan. Waking up today is day 9 of Josh Dobbs as a Titan. Yeah, I think he deserves and needs to be in the quarterback room. And there's a lot of is Tannehill in the room? Willis, I think, will be in the quarterback room moving forward. And we'll talk about Malik here in a second. But I do think from what we saw, one sample size, Josh Dobbs, I think, has earned I don't know if he's eligible for an NFL futures contract, they call it, which is a cheap contract that basically just has you a part of the 90-man training camp roster. But Josh Dobbs needs to be around up until cutdown day.
Okay, I think I'm going to reel you back in. It's one game. They just picked him up. It's 9 days. You have no idea who the new general manager is going to be. You don't know the roster turnover. You have no idea what the state of this franchise is going to be in 6 months. So
but Zach,
I think this is an overreaction on a Friday.
You're
saying that a quarterback has to be in the room after a performance where he was better than Malik Willis, but they still only scored 13 points.
Zach, I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying.
Maybe I am.
Yeah. So again, what I'm saying is that Josh Dobbs, I think at the very least, needs to be in the Titans organization once they break for the offseason. Josh Dobbs probably deserves a futures contract or a 1-year deal to at least remain, which is going to cost you literally $0.
Again, I'm not going to say things like that on December 30th when I don't know who the general manager is and I don't know the state of this franchise in the offseason. I'm just not, you can say it. I'm just not going to.
You know what a futures contract is, right?
Yes, I understand, but after one game, I'm not going to sit here and say that.
But Zach, look at the room though. There is so much. Again, listen to what I'm saying here and understand
the GM's going to come in and change the room.
Time out. Let me finish. Here's what I'm saying. Josh Dobbs needs to be on a futures contract for the Titans, which guarantees him to be in the building for April offseason team activities and mini camps and stuff throughout the summer and to get to training camp. That's what that means. And it costs you very little money at all. But he needs to be there because you don't know what it just allows you to have extra depth and to have a guy to continue to learn the system who just started a game after just getting to town and threw and played fairly well and made mistakes. He wasn't great, but considering the circumstances was solid. So keep him inside and see where that can become. I don't think Josh Dobbs is an NFL starter, but I think he's earned a further bigger opportunity with the Titans after being here for a week.
And you're more premature than I am. If Josh Dobbs beats the Jacksonville Jaguars, I will jump on that bus. But I'm not going to do that after a 13-point scored 13 points in a loss on a primetime game on after 9 days. That's just me personally. You can do it. I'm not going to.
I'm not saying Josh Dobbs is the backup quarterback in 2023. I'm just saying he deserves to be at training camp.
I just got to see a little bit more. I can't just base it off of 9 days.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best backup quarterback the Titans have had since who?
I mean, it's one game. He lost. What are you going to say? You're basing him being the best backup off of one game?
Since who?
Marcus Mariota was backing up Ryan Tannehill. There you go.
Okay. 3 years ago. 4 seasons.
Yeah, because they haven't. Logan Woodside didn't play for 2 years.
I know, and again, that's my point. Is that
it's nuanced. It doesn't matter. Didn't matter.
My point is to have him around is a good thing. So what does this? So I think that's what to me. That's what this means for Josh Dobbs. Is I think he has earned an opportunity to be around the offseason and to show up to training camp. So what does this mean for Malik Willis?
That's the bigger question. I'm less worried about Dobbs, right? I mean, Dobbs has been, again, in his young career, he's been a journeyman. He's been on a lot of different rosters. He's been traded back and forth. Jags, Steelers, Browns, Detroit, now Nashville. That's why, because of his history, I'm not going to sit here and say what you just said. I think this is more on what does this say for Malik Willis? Yes. That, I think, is the key, because you drafted a guy. You've been around him for 8 straight months since he entered the building, since he was drafted, and you don't trust him.
Right. So what?
You don't trust him.
So what does this mean for Malik Willis? Mike Vrabel was asked that question after the game last night, and we'll play you that video here in a second. But Zach, first tell everybody about Wilson County Hyundai.
Wilson County Hyundai is where you need to go to get your next ride. Whether it's the Palisade, full-size SUV, third-row seating, or the Sonata, which is a 4-door sedan, we love Wilson County Hyundai here at A to Z Sports, and you should too. Austin said at the beginning of the show, now is the time to buy a car. It absolutely is. End of the year, you can get some really good deals. And Payne Bone, family-owned and operated. Payne Bone owns Wilson County Hyundai. He will make sure you find your perfect make and model for your perfect price. Look at their inventory at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. A to Z Sports fans and followers have used Wilson County Hyundai. We know that for a fact. They've bought Wilson County Hyundai cars. They've had their Hyundais that maybe they purchased somewhere else fixed at Wilson County Hyundai, because that's how reliable Wilson County Hyundai is. Visit wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Also, download the BetMGM app. Use our code ATOZ Sports. That gets you a risk-free bet on pro football up to $1,000. Just a couple weeks remaining in the regular season to take advantage of that. So code ATOZ Sports, ATOZ Sports, for a risk-free bet up to $1,000 on pro football. Zach, I did hit an anytime touchdown bet last night with Bobby Trees. I did sprinkle a little bit on Bobby Trees plus 450.
Whoa.
Hey, it was.
No, I mean you won, but what?
There were several Titans that were like plus 450 or longer odds. I put like $10 on 4 of them, and I'm guaranteed a profit because Bobby Trees found his way to the end zone there. So you can do the same thing with BetMGM with code ATOZ Sports. Get a risk-free bet on pro football up to $1,000. So Zach, Mike Vrabel was asked, what does the Josh Dobbs decision mean for Malik Willis moving forward? And here was what Mike Vrabel had to say about the Titans rookie quarterback last night after the loss to the Cowboys.
Does that say anything, Mike, about Malik's progress, the fact that you bring in a guy from the practice squad?
I mean, I think that we're excited about having Malik. We're excited about some of the things that he's done, and we'll continue to just digest this over the weekend and kind of make a decision. Malik has worked hard, but then we just have to kind of see where we're at with the quarterback position here going down to the last week of the season.
All right, Zach, what did you think about the energy and the emotion that Mike Vrabel was showing during that clip?
So I want to replay it.
Okay.
Listen to how high Mike Vrabel's voice goes up at one point towards the end of the clip. Go play the clip again.
Does that say anything, Mike, about Malik's progress, the fact that you bring in a guy from the practice squad?
I mean, I think that we're excited about having Malik. We're excited about some of the things that he's done, and we'll continue to, just digest this over the weekend and kind of make a decision. Malik has worked hard, but then we just have to kind of, see where we're at with the quarterback position here going down to the last week of the season.
When you say, what I felt from that clip is he didn't want to say what he means and means what he says. And that's unlike Mike Vrabel, but that's a protection agency of what has just transpired over the last 2 weeks. Malik Willis lost to the worst football team in the National Football League, which was the Houston Texans at home. Josh Dobbs played better than Malik Willis. He played within the offense that Malik Willis was, and at times doesn't throw the football. And in the NFL, we've seen it. You can't Tebow your way to a starting quarterback and being consistent in this league. It does not work. That's not how you win football games. Lamar Jackson is at times really, really good, but you can't Lamar Jackson your way to consistency. You cannot run around and do the same things that you do in college football. And Josh Dobbs he's obviously more experienced. He didn't have a lot of game experience, but he had been around the league long enough, and he did what he was told. And what he's told is the plays, right? Coach to player relationship, call and run the play the way that it is. And that's where your players on offense can help you. And the fact of the matter is that the Titans players have not helped Malik Willis or Josh Dobbs in the short time that we've seen them. But Mike Vrabel's non-answer tells me we're happy to have Malik. Like, I know he's young, but you drafted the guy. That's the highest drafted quarterback that you've picked in some time, since obviously the number 1 or number 2 overall pick in Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
You've taken other quarterbacks later rounds that haven't worked out, and you're just happy that he's there. And when you get an opportunity to play your 3rd round quarterback in a crucial game, a crucial experience, not a crucial game, right? Like, there's crucial game experience that Malik Willis could work through, but you would rather pick a guy up off the streets 9 days later and start him in front of America to represent your brand. The actions speak louder than words.
Yeah. And I think, how valuable would 39 pass attempts been for Malik Willis last night?
Oh my gosh. He wouldn't have done that.
No, well, they might.
He wouldn't have thrown the ball 39 times.
They're going to hand it off to who?
He would have ran it. That's the point. His plays would have been runs like Malik Willis instead of passes, where Joshua Dobbs, as you saw last night, the good thing about Josh, he's looking down the field, right? Malik Willis has the eyes of looking at defenders. How can I outrun this guy to get to the pylon? But NFL linebackers are just faster than guys you play when you're at Liberty.
Yeah, and so here's another thing too that KG said 39. Malik would have thrown it 22 times and 3 interceptions.
I agree with KG.
Again, the difference is in Malik's 3 starts, Derrick Henry was there. In Josh Dobbs' 1 start, there was no Derrick Henry. And that's where I was going to go to this next comment. Where did it go? There was somebody, Darren, he goes, how about the plays and the rollouts? Finally, they moved Josh Dobbs in a way that we expected them to move Malik Willis around. And I do find it interesting and curious about your opinion on it, is how much did no Derrick Henry play a factor in what looked like, different style of play calling and developed play calling from Josh Dobbs got last night that Malik didn't get earlier in the year?
It definitely impacted the game because Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. But Austin, they don't trust Malik Willis to set his feet on a rollout. That's the facts.
Sure.
Straight facts, homie. They trust Josh Dobbs to set his feet when he rolls out. That's the knowledge that they've gained from Malik Willis. That's why they don't trust him. He can't run the offense. And like Ryan Tannehill does naked bootlegs. Now, he did less after he hurt his ankle, right? Like we know that. But the last 2.5 years, we've seen that from Ryan Tannehill and him making some pretty good decisions. whether it's getting upfield with his legs or throwing downfield to open receivers. They do not trust Malik Willis at this time within their current offense after 8 months.
Yeah, it is. We have to remember Ryan Tannehill's ankle injury happened in the 6th game of the season.
And the offense changed because of it, but it had to, right? You can't run a mobile quarterback who has a high ankle sprain.
Yeah. Like the Titans scored 20, at least minus the Bills game, 20 points in 4 of their first 5 games, which is not a high bar, but they haven't been able to score 20 points, minus the Jacksonville game. They've struggled to get to 20 points plus, and they haven't done it in 5 of their last 6 games. So it's been pretty crazy, the struggles with this offense with an immobile quarterback or Malik Willis. And, Dom gives some lunch money here. Says, if you are against cutting Malik, consider Hurts and Fields' career path. They at least showed something during horrible rookie circumstances, and Malik hasn't. And, I do think, one, Jalen Hurts was a first-round pick. I'm sorry, Justin Fields was a first-round pick. Jalen Hurts was a second-round pick. Ohio State, Alabama/Oklahoma, very different than Liberty. And then Dennis Daly at left tackle and anybody else at left tackle for Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields and their rookie seasons. So there is a little bit of Malik was in
they trusted those 2 quarterbacks to play. Jalen Hurts had 1,000 yards passing his rookie year. At the end of the season, they did the opposite of what the Titans did at the end of their season, right? The Titans went out and got somebody else to start over Malik Willis. Doug Peterson, who's fired and now in Jacksonville doing pretty good with a better quarterback, or I would say better quarterback, but he put in Jalen Hurts at the end, and then there was some confusion at the end. They tried to backdoor, and he tried to buy himself some time and got fired. But Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields was the same way. They said, this is going to be our franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
We're willing to struggle through the tough times. The Titans are telling us that they're not willing to struggle through the tough times in a meaningless game.
Well, because the Titans, and I think Mike Vrabel said this, they need to find out they wanted to find out what Josh Dobbs could do to see if they could make the playoffs. Mike Vrabel and the Titans organization, they want to make the playoffs to go have a home playoff game for extra revenue and just to make the playoffs for 4 years in a row. That's a big deal. And so, they don't care about picking 12th or 8th or whatever it could be. They want to make the playoffs, and they had to find out something with Dobbs.
Well, they're also not concerned about their future quarterback that they drafted. So there's 2 sides to that. I agree with you, right? They want to make the playoffs, but they don't want to make the playoffs with their future quarterback.
No, they don't think their future quarterback can right now. I think that is what they said. Or they at least don't have confidence that he can right now, and had to see what Josh Dobbs can do. So let's ask this question here and get everybody else involved about Malik Willis and his future. And this is not about our opinion or your opinion. It's about what we think the Titans are thinking. Do you think the Titans are done with Malik Willis or still have hope for the future? Are the Titans done with Malik Willis or still have hope for the future? But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, you got to know who to go to and who to trust to get you back to full health, to keep living your life, because injuries happen. Just like football, injuries happen in life, whether it's slipping and falling, like I almost did on a wet step yesterday with some humidity outside, or your son or daughter playing youth sports, you playing rec sports, whatever it might be. Bone and Joint Institute can help you with all their specialists, over a dozen of them, who know what to do with any type of injury, whether it's foot, ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, elbow, hand, wrist, neck, or concussions. They've got you covered there. boneandjointtn.org.
BetMGM, download the app today. We trust the BetMGM app. You can get in some action tonight. You got, your bowl games all year long, all weekend long, and you could bet tonight. You could also bet on pro football if you're a new user and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports. It's all one word, no spaces, ATOZ SPORTS. Download the app today in your Apple or Android store. That's BetMGM.
All right. So do you think the Titans are done with Malik Willis or still have hope for the future? Do you think the Titans are done with Malik Willis or still have hope for the future? I'm going to start reading some comments. Deborah says hope. Let's see. Will Dodson Jr. says done. Henry Blaze says hope. You don't give up on a third-round project quarterback. Chris Head says done. Willis just doesn't have it. Now we know why he fell so far in the draft. Larry says, no, a little hope, but the new GM is going to give him his walking papers. So there's that. Jarrell says it's literally been 1 year. He's a rookie. Let's see. Dion says hope. He's still raw, needs development. More comments. Adam says they still have hope for Willis, but they're trying to win now and can't do that with Willis. Ryan says he's done as a Titan. Dobbs or no Dobbs, Willis will be replaced. He gives you zero chance to win as a backup unless Henry goes for 250. So, yeah, and Malik Willis has one win as a starter in his 3 opportunities. Derrick Henry ran for 200 yards, and the Titans overall ran for 300 yards against a terrible Texans team. Zach, there's a lot of comments. Steve says Willis is done. Ty Kendrick says, sadly, I think they are done, but in an easygoing way. What do you think? Do you think the Titans are done, or do they still have hope for Malik?
Well, I'm going to read a couple of Lunchbox comments. Okay. And Connor says he's betting that Ryan Tannehill is released after the season. Malik is not that guy. So Connor coming in there and kind of stating what he feels on Malik not being the guy. I think and John says the Titans have only scored 20 points in a game all season. Dobbs scored 13 without any starters. If that doesn't show promise, nothing does. So that's more on what Joshua Dobbs' performance was, which, he did perform well.
3 scoring drives, right? 3 scoring drives because they had 2 field goals.
In a bad offense. That needs to be like at the end, you always need to say in a bad offense.
With a terrible offensive line, nobody healthy on offensive line besides Aaron Brewer and Dennis Daly, who are the worst of the 5 starters to start the season. And then, you had a spot where they stole a field goal at the end of the half because Traylon Burke made a great play. And, Dobbs was prepared to go up there and get that field goal opportunity before half. And then, the sack fumble that lost field goal range and the potential should have been called DPI on Burks that could have set up another scoring opportunity. So there were, ifs, buts, whatever, right? 3 scores happened, and there were 5 true scoring opportunities for the Titans offense with Josh Dobbs being on the team for 8 days.
G says, when you draft a 3rd-round quarterback, they're not ready till year 2 or 3. Cutting him is very premature. I don't think we're talking about cutting, or at least I'm not talking about cutting Malik Willis because they're not going to cut him. I would be very surprised if a general manager comes in and just cuts Malik Willis. I do think that they've learned a lot more about Malik Willis after 8 months, and they don't like what they've learned. It doesn't mean that he can't figure it out. I think that, to Austin, I want to ask you a question before I give my answer because I think this is important.
Okay.
Justifying hope. Is the hope that Malik Willis will eventually be your franchise quarterback, or is hope just Malik Willis will be a starter, a consistent backup? What is hope?
Well, I think if you ask that question after the draft, the hope was that at some point Malik Willis would take over for Ryan Tannehill as this franchise's starting quarterback.
In year 3 of his contract?
I always thought year 3. Year 3 was always what I thought was the most reasonable for Malik Willis, considering the development he needs based off of how raw he is coming out of Liberty. That was my expectations. I think others thought that he should take over at the end of this year. Some people thought he could take over at some point in 2023. But that's where hope, I guess, would be to be a full-time starter, I guess.
Okay.
At some point, not next year, not now, but at some point, Could Malik Willis work his way? Could you hope he could earn a full-time starting opportunity?
My final answer is there is a sliver of hope. That's what I'm going to give him. A sliver of hope that he can be a full-time starter. I think the issue, and I agree with G, the guy who gave a little lunch money, is it's a 2 to 3 year project. Project is the key word when you draft a third-round quarterback. Very rarely, and sometimes it happens, you get the Dak Prescotts and the Russell Wilsons that come out and change the course of your franchise, right? But, Dak played big-time football at Mississippi State, and Russell Wilson played big-time football at NC State and Wisconsin. Malik Willis is even more of a project because he played at Liberty. I truly believe that. I think his footwork, they came in there and they said, God, this guy's footwork is atrocious. Mm-hmm. And it's so bad that's why he's so inaccurate. And in the NFL, you can't be inaccurate. You can be a little inaccurate, but you can't be from Liberty. And how tall is he? 6 foot?
Ish.
You can't be 6 foot and inaccurate.
Maybe
the reason why Drew Brees was good for most of his career is because he's accurate. And so there's a sliver of hope, but man, it's waning. And I think when they hire the new general manager and I get to hear his tone, his mindset, him answer questions, I think I'm going to shut the door and my answer will evolve into done. Because the new GM is going to come in there and find his own guy, and he's going to try to win football games. And Malik Willis can't win you NFL football games right now. They told us that yesterday. And I don't know if he'll be able to win consistently in 2 to 3 years because I don't think he'll get that opportunity for the Tennessee Titans.
So my answer is that I kind of agree with you. There is hope. It's a little bit of hope. But they're not done. Like, the Titans are not going to be done with Malik Willis already. That's just
that would be premature, right?
Yes, that is not, because I think everybody that was a part of the draft process of the selection of Malik Willis at 86 overall as the third round pick the Titans had in this past draft understood this is not a 2022 draft pick. This might be a 2023 draft pick, but in reality, this is a year 3 type of selection at 86 overall after you just picked a right tackle or left tackle in MPF from Ohio State that you feel like you have the ability to make that selection. So I don't think it would be dumb for the Titans to be done with Malik Willis right now. There is no reason to make that decision today or yesterday or this week or after the third start against the Texans. There's no reason to do that. Premature, absolutely.
Here is the biggest curveball in this whole situation. John Robinson drafted Malik Willis because John Robinson thought he was going to be there as the general manager for the next 4 years, right? He was going to get to develop Malik Willis. John Robinson falsely thought that this year's team could compete for a Super Bowl. John Robinson thought the 2022 Tennessee Titans would be closer than they actually
I think
in reality are.
I think he thought they could win the division and then be a competitive team in the playoffs with Vrabel and in the defense. Look, this defense was absolutely lights out for the first 2 months of the season.
But
everybody knew.
But he was wrong. John Robinson ultimately.
But again, and the injuries thing is just ridiculous. And we're going to have to try to diagnose what's going on.
So why I said that is the sliver of hope. I mean, the door is shutting. I mean, it's barely cracked because the new general manager is going to come in here and say, I got a good football team. How do we get from good to great, right? It's going to be the same mantra and same mindset because the Titans are good. They're not, with all their players, I want to say that, right? With Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry and all their players healthy, they're a good football team. But the Titans and the state of where their organization is now, Austin, they're tired of being just a good football team. They want to compete with Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes. And how they're currently constructed, they cannot do that. So that's what the new general manager is going to be tasked with. You've said it before. It's a lot easier to go from the worst team in the league to 500, right? Or a playoff team, wild card team. It's really, really difficult. And you have to have the right pieces and the right quarterback to get to the consistency of divisional playoff game, AFC championship game, like we've seen Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Kansas City do over the last several years.
Yeah, it's really hard to sustain in this league.
The quarterback it's the quarterback. That's how you sustain. All three of them have the quarterback. That's why they're there every single year. And Burrow, look, Monday night, the best matchup. I mean, this is how bad the matchup was last night with the Titans and the Cowboys. The NFL gods redeemed themselves because Monday night we get Bills at Bengals in a massive AFC showdown. That is popcorn, my friends. So, like, the Titans want to be playing in those type of games, not last night's game.
Well, who are the three quarterbacks you mentioned? So after you take your sip of water.
Allen, Burrow, and Mahomes.
Where were they picked? Where were they drafted?
First
Remember?
round.
Go deeper in that.
Top 10.
Top 10. All three of them. Top 10. 1, 7, 10. All of them. Top 10 quarterbacks. And, the Chiefs did a ballsy thing and move up 17 spots to go get Mahomes at 10 from 27, and it's worked out.
Austin,
great.
the Titans currently pick, I will repeat.
I have so many thoughts. I have 12. So many. We're going to have, I can wait because I want to see what happens against Jacksonville, but my goodness, the domino effect of all of these conversations on it all depends on where the Titans drafted. Because where the Titans
Austin, they could get your boy Will Levis.
I just threw up in my mouth.
Will Levis, a quick trip down I-65.
Now you got to take I-65 and the Blue Mountain Highway.
I don't travel into Kentucky, so I don't know.
I've
however you get from Lexington to Nashville. Yeah, you got to take 65 to get to Nashville.
65 to Louisville, and then you got to take that Blue Mountain Ridge Highway or whatever that's made out of limestone all the way to Lexington.
But what I'm saying is the Titans currently pick 12th. So if you're sitting here saying that they need a Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes, you're not going to get that by making the playoffs.
Yeah, there's two quarterbacks from the SEC that the Titans should not touch with a 10-foot pole, and that is Will Levis from Kentucky or Anthony Richardson from Florida. I don't want either of those guys coming to Nashville.
The other guys are going to be gone. So, look, Bryce Young's going to go number 1 overall to the Texans, probably, right? And then after that, who are you dealing with? Is this
C.J. Stroud? So,
C.J. Stroud, which himself you got question marks on.
Sure. Yeah.
Go watch CJ. Hey, here, what I tell you to do. Go to A to Z Sports Film Room and go listen to James Foster talk about CJ Stroud on A to Z Sports Film Room. Everybody, go there. This is what we're doing, and we'll promote it even more in the offseason. But we're getting A to Z Sports film specialist James Foster to go through the quarterbacks, and he's done a couple of them. Go listen to the CJ Stroud one. So you're sitting here, you need a quarterback. Maybe this is not the draft that you want to draft one.
No, I honestly don't think it is. But again, we have to, that's where I am an off-season lover when it comes to NFL and the draft process and free agency and everything there. There's a lot of good, juicy things to discuss when it comes to the Titans.
And, Danny gives some lunch money and says the only thing that this team has been great at for the last couple of years is finding the training room table. And Danny is not incorrect. That will always, we talk about going from good to great. The one X factor that will prohibit you being great are injuries. I think 60 to 70% of the injuries that have occurred in the last 2 years are kind of like weird happenstance football injuries. Bad luck, right?
Yeah, Andrew Adams tearing his patella in the back corner of the end zone, trying to defend a pass. Like, no training, strength, and conditioning staff is really going to help that from happening.
But there's 30% that says we got to change the players that we're picking and what we're doing.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, I've got some ideas for how to approach that situation in the offseason too. But all right, let's go ahead and get back to last night. A quick conversation we want to have here about last night and what hurt the Titans more. what was the Titans' bigger problem versus the Cowboys? Drop passes or penalties? So drop passes or penalties. We got some Mike Vrabel video on this too, but Zach, tell us all about Farm Bureau health plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com is where to go. I switched at the beginning of 2022. I'm carrying it over, baby. I'm riding it into the new year, 2023. I've got my plan. I've got my receipt right here. I'm getting my contact allowance back. I never got contact allowance. I actually never, talk about allowance. I'm thinking about like what allowance represents. I got contacts that I got to buy every single year. No health plan has ever given me any money to make me see. Farm Bureau Health Plans in Tennessee does that. That's the best part. So whatever my contacts based on my plan, however much my contacts cost, I get an allowance for that. These are the perks of why you should switch. Take a quick health assessment, get a quote, and switch today. 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. That's FBHP.com/A to Z. And I will say this to end. The communication with Farm Bureau Health Plans is great. And that's hard to find these days. When you talk about health plans, tech companies, whatever it is, the communication is key.
Download the BetMGM app. Use our code ATOZ Sports. You get a risk-free bet on pro football up to $1,000. Coming up later on this afternoon, 2 p.m. Central Time, A to Z Sports Picks, getting you ready for Tennessee Clemson tonight in that Orange Bowl matchup. Go to the App Store, whatever you got. Download the BetMGM app. Use code ATOZ Sports. When you sign up, make your first deposit, and boom, risk-free bet on pro football up to $1,000 with that first pro football bet. Visit betmgm.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only new customer offer. All promotions, subject to qualification, eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as knowledgeable for bets credit. For bets expired 7 days. For problem game support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Zach, we asked the question. I'll send you to the chat here in a second. What hurt the Titans more? What was the bigger problem versus the Cowboys? Drop passes or penalties? Here's the head coach, Mike Vrabel, last night.
How'd you like how you played, maybe on defense, keeping this game close, and the penalties, maybe mistakes end up dooming you at the end?
Well, we just beat ourselves too much. It's too hard to beat the Cowboys or good football teams when you beat yourself. But I thought we competed. I was extremely proud of the way that the 47 guys we had up tonight competed, certainly without mistake. But we gave ourselves a chance, but then again, we just did too many things that hurt us and stalled drives or allowed drives to continue. And didn't get the drive stopped with a field goal, down there in the red zone.
Now it stalled drives and allowed other drives to continue. The Titans had a couple of false starts that ruined fourth down opportunities. They had the sack fumble that's lost them a field goal chance, and then a handful of defensive penalties on third down for the Cowboys allowed the Cowboys to put up points later on in those drives. So Zach, I'll send you to the chat. The bigger problem last night, penalties or drop passes.
Well, I'll say this on reacting to that video. I feel like Mike Vrabel is mentally struggling with moral victories versus reality, right? Where he knows the reality of the situation, that guys don't have the talent to cover Michael Gallup, right? Like they can't, but there are no moral victories and they lost. And you can't commit penalties. So I feel like this is very tough on Mike Vrabel on how he coaches, but he also is a realistic guy. I believe that, right? But he, there's no excuses. And so this is a tough one. Penalties easy from Greg. Scott says penalties. Penalties from Jacoby. We got a couple people like Roy coming in saying the refs. Deshaun Washington says penalties. Drop passes and offensive line from Kyle. David says drop passes. Eric says penalties. The F and penalties from Dre. Penalties from Tones. Penalties right there from Mac. Dennis Daly from Jay. So he's just going across for that. Jamie says penalties. So does Noah. Terrible officiating some there from John. We recognized that last night in the postgame show. It wasn't the reason that the Titans lost, but it did kill some momentum for the Titans, but also drop passes killed momentum for them. So
yeah, I would say for the Titans, they had 124 yards of penalties. I would say the roughing the passer on Monty Rice was iffy, but I am okay with that call if Josh Dobbs gets the same treatment on the other side if the Dak Prescott got. And that did not get called when Parsons got Dobbs in the chin with his helmet. That's a flat out blatant roughing the passer by the letter of the law. When Rice got called for it, Parsons did not. There was also a ticky-tack, what I thought was a weak call that CeeDee Lamb drew by flopping like he was in the World Cup last month on Roger McCreary down the sideline for a DPI that I thought was weak. There were other DPIs and holds on McCreary and Trey Avery
The passes were catchable. I thought that was on a couple of them, right?
Yeah, but the majority of the Titans penalties were warranted. The 51-yard penalty on Trey Avery, that's a flag. That's just a smart play by Dak Prescott to either arm punt for 50 yards with a pick on 3rd and 19 or see what happens. And that's exactly what he did. And Trey Avery was the victim of that smart play by Dak. But then, the lack of DPI called on Burks. I think there's something that I notice about Treylon Burks. There's been a few times this year where he has been interfered with, but it hasn't been called. And I think that's him not having that full polished wide receiver skill set of doing what CeeDee Lamb
acting
did.
degree.
Yeah, his acting degree. I don't think Arkansas has theater out there in Fayetteville, but they might in Oklahoma with some of the musicals they've got there in the Sooner State for CeeDee Lamb. But Treylon Burks has to be better at making that obvious to call. It should have been called. It shouldn't be the wide receiver's job to flop to get the call, but that's why soccer players flop. It works. That's why LeBron and NBA players flop, because it works. It sucks, but that's what has to happen.
And to your point, Treylon Burks has to develop that skill set, which is funny to say. It is a skill set to help your football team. So I'm with you there. I'm going to go drop passes, and here's why. I'm going to go a singular drop pass. I think that Robert Woods' drop pass have just started to irritate people, right? Like they're irritable. You got traded. You're supposed to be the reliable veteran. Everybody's younger than you. You've had more life and game experience, and you're the guy dropping passes. And this is not just one game. This is multiple games over the course of the season. It's unacceptable. Mm-hmm. But I think the drop pass by Treylon Burks in the third quarter was killer. We spoke about it in our post-game show. Titans get the ball. They have an opportunity to go steal some momentum and take the lead possibly, or at least inch closer. And that third down gets them across midfield. And you just pray that Todd Downing doesn't do 5-7 step drop to punt for Dobbs to get sacked like he notoriously does. But now all of a sudden the pressure is on. But instead you punt to the Cowboys. They get a 51-yard penalty. They score in the next play from Dalton Schultz, and they now have extended the lead and really killed your mindset of, wow, maybe we can win this game.
Yep.
That was killer. So I'm going to say that drop pass, because of when it occurred in the game, was deadly.
There are two plays that involved Treylon Burks that ruined the Titans' opportunity to make this tight, clinching effort down the stretch for Dallas. It's that drop you just talked about that the Titans maybe could have either kicked a field goal for a 1-point game or scored a touchdown to take the lead, because you mentioned it. Dallas went up 17-6. The Titans answered 17-13. The Cowboys score 24-13. And then the following drive from the Titans was the missed Treylon Burks DPI that could have been a 1st and 10 at the 15 type of situation. And who knows what could have happened in those two situations, because the Titans offense had some things working up until that point.
Do you agree with Jabari?
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, yes. Part of playing offensive football is putting the defense in conflict because of the rules
consistently.
And putting them in bad situations.
So Jabari, for our audio listeners after, says, get a modern offense and get the calls. I do think Jabari has a point there. Is the more times, because the Dallas Cowboys have a modern offense. CeeDee Lamb has 100 yards and he's targeted like 15 times. Gallup gets his touches. Schultz gets his touches. Hendon Shot got his shot and then, deflected off his hand. And then Tony Pollard in their offense, when he's there, he gets his. It's a modern offense. And So I brought Jabari's comment up because I want to touch on this that I didn't speak on in our last topic. The reason why Malik Willis is more done than you have hope is because I don't know if Malik Willis can quarterback with his arm a modern offense. That's my final term on that.
Yeah, fair enough. A to Z Sports here live on this Friday. Let's wrap up 2022 with Ain't That Good News. It could be a New Year's resolution. It could be some good news from the entire year, or good news from this week. So Ain't That Good News here live to wrap up our show. But first, I do want to tell everybody about our great sponsor, Hughes & Coleman, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call Hughes & Coleman for a free case consultation, 800-800-4600. That's where you should turn if, unfortunately, a car accident happens in life. You got to make sure you know who can help you get the money you deserve for that injury. And Hughes & Coleman, they've recovered over $1 billion for their clients across the state of Tennessee and in Kentucky, and have the resources to fight that insurance company for you, just like they have for 30-plus years. Hughes & Coleman Injury Lawyers. Once again, a free case consultation when you call 800-800-4600, Principal Office, Nashville, Tennessee.
A to Z Sports, BetMGM. That's a relationship that we can get on board with. You can too. You can form a relationship with BetMGM by downloading the app and using the promo code ATOZ Sports. They're the king of sportsbooks. We love BetMGM. Austin and I bet on BetMGM all the time. They hook us up with great, and they got promos where you get free bets. I mean, it's great. This weekend is a great time to try. New users get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. So download the BetMGM app today. Let's hit good news.
Ain't that good news to wrap up 2022 and this week? I gave myself a little Christmas bonus via BetMGM. So that's some good news this week of withdrawing some of my football season winnings. So that's some good news there too. But I'll go to the chat. Ain't that good news today for you guys? Tiffany says that they're going to pick up their new pup today, which is very exciting for
we got to figure out, you got to name the pup when you see the pup, right? Like,
yes,
what does this pup look like? Does it look like a Max, a Tank, a Cannon, you got all these different names. So Tiffany, I know you watch the show consistently. Curious to see what you're going to name the pup. Maybe next week you can disclose that.
Yeah, we got to follow that up there too. Donald says, good news. Sister got him an air fryer and he can't wait to use it. Donald, it's been a week, almost a full week since Christmas. You haven't broken out the air fryer yet and fired it up and got it rolling?
I don't have an air fryer. We, went and registered because I'm getting married next year. Air fryer's on that bad boy. I think I could do some damage with an air fryer. That is exciting to me.
I'm curious about it. The main thing about air fryer is, doesn't it just like suck all the nutrition out of everything you put in it?
I have no idea.
I think that's because I know, like, whenever you cook vegetables, for example, you're always removing nutrition when you cook something like that. And when you roast vegetables, you remove some of that. But air fryer, I think it just makes it, it makes it taste great. But, I don't know what the balance
I'm looking forward to, because I see these on TikTok all the time. They cut up salmon in cubes. They put them in like a bourbon honey sauce, and they put them in the air fryer for like 10 minutes, and they come out, and they're like, oh my gosh, these are unbelievable. And I tend to be like, I want that. I want to be able to do that. So maybe you can try that out with your air fryer, Donald. Look up the recipe for like salmon. I don't know, salmon bites. I don't know what they're called, but
Noah says it is good news. He's headed to the weekend with a lead in both of his fantasy football championships, trying to repeat in both leagues. Man,
you get some new competition.
Yeah, right. Yeah, or don't, or just keep on racking this thing up, Noah, and stacking trophies. Ethan says good news, Tennessee versus Clemson tonight. And then I did see Demetrius says good news, seeing Bozo Sweeney lose to the Vols tonight. I'll speak on that for a second, because we do have halftime and post-game shows coming up tonight for the Orange Bowl with Charlie Burris, Jonathan Crompton, hoping to have a little extra sprinkle of fun to that halftime and post-game show, but not quite confirmed yet on that. So that would be a lot of fun. But my good news, Zach, is that I'm pumped about the weekend ahead. it's what the perfect weekend for me and my entertainment and time that I get to spend. Orange Bowl tonight. Can't get any better than that. The Vols playing in their most meaningful postseason game in I don't know how long. I guess 2007, which was the last time they were in the SEC championship game. They've played this meaningful of a game since like around Thanksgiving weekend.
I mean,
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And I was in the same situation last year with like Ole Miss going to the Sugar Bowl. And then whether you win or lose, in my opinion, this is just my opinion.
Sure.
It's not that meaningful because you move on. The Orange Bowl and the Sugar Bowl doesn't mean as much. I think I would be more excited for what Tennessee has done. I'm not saying you shouldn't be excited for tonight. I'm going to watch the game. I'm looking forward to it. But it's really about what Tennessee is as a program on the horizon of expansion when you're truly going to play meaningful games. Because Kansas State, Alabama doesn't mean a damn thing. So that's college football's problem that I do believe that they're fixing.
Sure, but again, why I think this Tennessee game is meaningful is because of the state of the program. Like you said, it's year 2, and Josh Heupel has you in a New Year's 6 game at 10-2. Did they screw up a massive golden opportunity to make the playoff with it still being 4 teams? Yeah. But, that happened 6 weeks ago. I have halfway recovered from the South Carolina loss and then Hendon Hooker injury. But I'm excited about this. I'm also excited because Joe Milton gets to show something that maybe he can do next year. I'm a doubter. I don't care if Joe Milton can throw an orange 110 yards or not, which I don't know if you saw that. But he literally threw an orange 110 yards. They distanced it, which is insane.
That's good content.
It's great content. Tennessee is always about that good content. But can Joe Milton put together some success offensively against a good Clemson defense? So I think I'm excited about that. I'm excited about all the good positivity and the buzz around Tennessee. And you get a shot at Dabo and Clemson, who has been wrecking you over the last decade in recruiting up there with some key prospects. And it's a great chance to get a shot. So that starts my weekend. Then Saturday, I just get to hang out with family and have a great New Year's Eve. And then Sunday, more of the same. So no Titans on New Year's Day, which is great. I'm so pumped for this weekend to wrap up the holiday season. That's my good news.
Some good news. Johnny says only one more week to watch the nightmare of a season talking about the Titans. Matt says look, the love of his life and mother of his child said yes for forever. So Matt, congratulations for getting engaged.
I did see this, Zach. Did you see last night in Nissan Stadium there was a proposal?
I did. I saw that. That wouldn't have been my choice of where I would do it, but
was that Matt? Hey, Thursday Night Football. There's opportunity for promotion there.
I guess. Dom says good news. Said he'd get his running mile time under 6:30 this year. He's at 6:15. So is this on the track? That would be my question, right? What are you counting? Or is this on a treadmill? Where you got?
So look, I'm curious to know Dom's answer.
It doesn't count if it's on a treadmill.
Look, it does. You just say I ran this on a treadmill. It still counts. You still achieved the mile time. And Dom's a big dude. Like, so if Dom,
and I'm not diminishing Dom, that's a great news. I'm really throwing shade on of Austin and I's back and forth of the last 10 years. It feels like on Austin saying he can run a sub-6 mile. And then on a treadmill.
Yeah, I have run a 5:34 mile on a treadmill.
Which you could not do on the track.
I think why I couldn't do that on the track is because I don't have the
help of a treadmill.
No, I don't have the running smarts to know what my pace feels like to keep up. That's what it is. And Dom says he does both. So look, I am significantly out of shape, cardio shape compared to where I was when I last ran my 5:34. And hey, look, Dom says 5:30 even on the treadmill is elite, Zach. So, not now, but 4 months ago, Dom says I was 4 seconds away from elite. How about that?
I'm not saying that it's not good. I've never once said it. I can't do that. That's not something that I want to do. But to just say I can run a sub 6 mile, which you did at one point and didn't disclose, but it's on a treadmill. That I think is the important part. That I will always stand by that, and I have, because we proved the point. When you tried to run it on track, you only got 2 laps.
Yeah,
in,
that
you
was
quit.
that was I have
You
completely
quit.
I have complete that was in 2016, early 2016. So almost 7 years ago. Because that was like February of 2016 when I did that, which was hilarious and also great content. It was better that I quit halfway.
Yeah, but you
through.
quit.
And that was a 7-minute mark. I was trying to go 7
You
minutes.
didn't, but you said you could do it, and then you quit. So,
but then I did a half mile in 3. So again, it was better content.
That doesn't matter. That matters zero. Half miles, when you're trying to run a mile and you quit halfway through the mile, no, it's about you quitting, not about what you did in the first 2 laps.
It was better.
You're playing like damage control.
No, I'm trying to tell you this. It was better for the show that it happened the way that it did.
Yeah, I was just intrigued to see what was going to happen. I kind of knew it was
I have a potential challenge for us down the road, but I don't want to do it today or talk about it today. But it's something that I think it would be very fun to watch.
All right, Maserati Mac has good news, and maybe I hope this wasn't in his Maserati. Got out of a car accident, still alive after a car hit him. So that's always scary. So we always want people to be safe. Yeah. Here's my good news.
Hold on, real quick before you do it. Jeff says, I do miss the A to Z challenges with Buck behind the camera, because we did have a lot of fun a few years ago when Zach and I had a lot more free time on our hands to go do some fun challenges, and Buck being the camera guy narrator. There was some really good content.
The times they are changing.
Yes, absolutely.
But in a good way. Well, yeah. So as we conclude 2022, I think what I'm always excited about is what's next. I am a look forward person. Everybody that knows me is like, I don't sit still. We got to get things done. That's just my mindset. And we got tons of big things in store for A to Z Sports, obviously in 2023. My good news, though, for this weekend, I'm going to I'm having a best men. So there's 2 of my best friends are going to be my wedding. We're not doing a wedding party. We're not going to have one of those like 16, 22. We're not doing that, right?
Yes, thank you.
So you pick 2. We said we pick 2. You pick 2. There's going to be 4 people in the damn thing. Nobody else. You can't be in the wedding. Sorry. So 2. Well, one of those is also getting married. He got engaged a couple of weeks ago. So they are, and this is creative, I guess, a ring in the New Year engagement party that is on New Year's Eve. So the nice party, dressing up, going to ring in the new year, and watch football all weekend. So that's my exciting news, that things are moving for A to Z, for me personally in my life, for my friends around me. It's going to be a great new year, I feel, in 2023 for a lot of people, and we are very appreciative of everybody that has jumped on the A to Z Sports bandwagon all over the world and all over this country as we expand it and really set new horizons for what this company can do. We've always set out to change the game and revolutionize the way that sports fans interact with their communities, their sports communities, and their hosts. And you guys are the real OGs, because this is the flagship of A to Z Sports right here in Nashville, covering the Titans.
Yeah, so to add to that, as we wrap up 2022 for at least our morning show here, we do have content, A to Z Sports Picks, coming up today at 2 p.m. with Alan and Brian to get you ready for the Orange Bowl tonight, and also halftime and post-game shows for the Vols Clemson Orange Bowl tonight too. But really do appreciate all of you guys for showing up every day. It doesn't matter what the weather's doing, what month it is, what's happening in the news. You guys are here ready for us and complaining if we're a few minutes late. So we do appreciate all of you guys for having us a part of your routine, your day, your week, your game day experience, and having these conversations. And, we've already got a lot of really, really fun, exciting things in the works for 2023 that we've been working really hard on, that we can't wait to continue to develop. And, just knowing that this Titans offseason is going to be a lot of fun. It might be painful in some spots for Titans fans, parting ways with some longtime guys, but it's going to be very dramatic and there will be movement. And so that's going to be create a lot of interesting and fun conversations for us to have in the new year throughout the entire offseason process to see what 2023 season has in store.
And lastly, before we wrap up, Darren, you are like everybody. Darren says I should be working. Well, that's the best part. That's why we're here.
Right?
We should be working too.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Hope everybody has a great New Year's Eve and New Year's weekend. Be safe. We want to see you guys Monday, January 2nd. So be safe. Make sure you take care of your stuff over the weekend and don't do anything stupid that hurts the A to Z football team. So we will see you guys on Monday, January 2nd, 2023. Have a great weekend. Also, don't forget, before you head out of here, like the show before you go. Give us a thumbs up. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, give us a like. If you're not subscribed to the channel on YouTube or liking us on Facebook, you got to do that as well. And we'll talk to you guys in the new year. Appreciate it as always.